Stand on the brake with my left, the accelerator with my right, let it rev up and drop the brake.
Whoa,
Lots
whoa,
of
whoa,
wheel spin
whoa.
there.
Hey,
Lots of wheel
whoa.
spin. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is the reigning 2025 Truck of Texas and the newly appointed 2026 midsize pickup truck of Texas as voted on by the Texas Auto Writers Association. I have been living with this Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter for a week now. I have taken it off-road and on a road trip to Dallas and back with my family. In this video, we will investigate, does it live up to all those awards and accolades, as well as the sales success leading it to be the best-selling midsize pickup truck. This video is brought to you by Lasfit liners. More on them a little bit later in the video. Before we get too far into this one, I do want to thank Toyota for bringing me the Truck of Texas for 2025. And yes, before you get all crazy in the comments, this is up for the 2026 Pickup Truck of Texas. That award just has not been announced yet. What I want to talk about while we're under the hood here is what motivates this particular model being the Trailhunter. Here we get the iForce MAX Hybrid Turbocharged 4-cylinder powertrain. It is a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline 4, made it to a hybrid system, making 323 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque, sending power down to all four wheels via a 2-speed transfer case and an 8-speed automatic transmission. That 8-speed is a huge upgrade over the 6-speed from the prior generations, and we will talk about whether or not this 4-cylinder hybrid is really an upgrade over the more traditional V6 it replaced. Yes, the V6 is now gone from the Tacoma lineup, which has some leaving the bestseller altogether and going to some other brands in the segment. So let me know down in the comments, is this 4-cylinder hybrid really a deal breaker for you? Will it keep you away from the segment sales leader? But yes, that is what powers it. Closing the hood, we have our oxide bronze metallic paint, which is a Trailhunter exclusive here, which really leans into all the additional bronze accents that we have throughout. This does get the heritage Toyota grille. We get an LED light bar here, but we do have these dual mode rigid lights down here. These fog lights can switch from yellow to clear with the push of a button on the dash, which is very cool. And then we have all LED lights all the way around up front. It is a very rough, rugged, tough look that I think works here on the Tacoma. And then some things that Toyota engineers learned from Tundra is we do actually have tow hooks up front here, which is very nice. We do not have the giant air dam of other Tacoma models, which really does hamper the overall fuel economy, which we will talk about shortly. But we have a lot of underbody protection on this one that we talk about a little bit more when we take this one off-road. But the most interesting thing on underbody protection on this Trailhunter trim is the fact that the fuel tank uses a composite shield while all the other components underneath use a full steel underbody shield. Is that a deal breaker for you if you're taking your truck off-road and hitting the trails? Speaking of style, I did leave this one dirty from our off-road adventures to show you just what this bronze oxide paint looks like after some usage, some wear. Again, it has seen our red iron ore dirt here in East Texas, as well as a couple small rain showers, and I'd say it hides the dirt very well. So this is a very premium color that does its necessary job of hiding all dirt, grime, and debris. Now you can see we are riding on some bigger wheels and tires with our Trailhunter trim. These are Goodyear Wrangler tires. They're 33-inch tall tires, a lot like what we see on the competition from Chevrolet and GMC. And you can see they're wrapped around some 18-inch bronze wheels, which I really like. They are Trailhunter specific bronze wheels. But the Goodyear Wranglers are 265/70 R18s, and yes, they do provide a lot of good traction. Hiding behind there are some bronze Trailhunter specific control arms. We do have some old man emu shocks on this one. And something that I learned from spending time with Toyota is that they really did invest in their aftermarket partners to make sure they were up to the production capacity to partner with them on adding some factory aftermarket. Yes, that does not really make a lot of sense, but some factory aftermarket parts like the ARB and Old Man Emu parts we see here on this Trailhunter trim. We do have that steel rock rail that is frame mounted for some additional body protection when off-roading. And you can see we do get that ARB rack behind the cab. Another very unique thing here on this Tacoma is the fact that we get a 6-foot bed. Both Ford and General Motors have ditched the 6-foot bed option, giving you crew cab short bed onlys on their midsize pickup truck offerings. But Nissan and Toyota continue to offer a 6-foot bed option if that is what you need, want, and desire. Another thing that we get here is some additional overlanding lights. So you can see on top of the bed rails, we do have some LED lights that do add to additional perimeter lighting when you're coming up to this vehicle, which I really do like. As we come around to the back of the pickup truck, much like the improved approach angle with the revised front bumper, we get an ARB steel rear bumper on our Tacoma Trailhunter with some high mount jack points and some red painted recovery hooks. So we do have 2 recovery points up front, 2 recovery points back here in the back. This is a very trail ready pickup truck, that is for sure. And as I mentioned, yes, we do have some high mount jack points. We actually see that across the Tacoma lineup. They are built in and integrated into the pickup design. So whether or not you get an SR5 or this Trailhunter model, you do get this high mount jack point, which is very cool. So no matter where your starting point is for modifying your Tacoma pickup truck, well, just know that Toyota has got your back and they know their audience quite well. As we take a look at the back of the truck, you may have noticed, yes, down underneath we do have a full-size spare, which is very welcome. And then the tailgate wars have made their way to the midsize pickup truck segment. We don't have a tailgate within a tailgate like some of the full-size competitors in the full-size truck category, but we do steal some ingenuity from the Tundra full-size pickup truck with this button right here. We have a power deploying up-down tailgate back here in the back that does raise and lower with the push of a button. They have hidden that button on both of the taillights here. So unlike the Tundra where it is only on the driver's side, you actually get it on both driver and passenger side here on the Tacoma. And the Tacoma has long been known for its composite bed, but we do have a spray and bed liner here on our particular tester, which does kind of negate some of the downsides of the composite bed, which is a very slick surface. This is how I would option my Tacoma bed 100%, just because, yes, the composite bed does get rather slick if you do not have the spray and bed liner. And then our Trailhunter does get some cool options, including a compressor, which is integrated into the vehicle. So the compressor is there, and then we have our controls right up here. You can see a place for the hose to refill the air in your tire so you can air down when you get to your location with that built-in compressor. And then all of your toolkit is hidden in this side storage right here. If that is not enough for you, we do have an auxiliary power outlet back here in the bed. That is, you can see 120 volt 2,400 watts in power back here in the bed, which is very nice. So lots of capability. We also have these adjustable tie-down points, although with that auxiliary ARB rack mounted back to the back, there really isn't much of a place to move those forward and back. And then I did mention, yes, this video is brought to you by Lasfit liners, and I guess now would be a good time to talk about that. So as I mentioned, this video is sponsored by our partners with Lasfit liners. And yes, here in the back of our truck, we do have are perfect fit, pet friendly, easy clean, slip resistant, durable, and eco-friendly Lasfit liners for our Toyota Tacoma, the best selling midsize pickup truck in the segment. Now, one thing I want to note about the replacement floor liners from Lasfit is, even though Toyota gives us these Trailhunter specific rubber floor mats, they are just so flimsy and don't provide the same level of protection that these molded, more rigid liners from Lasfit afford you. So you can see just how much more durable these are and the added protection we get from them actually going up over the sides and sills. Installation couldn't be easier, simply sliding them into place and then locking them down. Another strong bonus of these Lasfit liners, you can see our rear liners are single piece units on either side with no protection there in the center. Lasfit goes the extra mile and actually covers that center tunnel for you, really giving you full protection in the rear seat of your Tacoma pickup truck. These really are going to be a better option versus the all-weather floor mats that Toyota gives you with these Trailhunter rubberized units. So if you want to get some Lasfit liners for your Tacoma or any other vehicle in your garage, be sure and use the link and promo code down in the description below to save you a little bit of cash at checkout. Huge thanks to Lasfit for sponsoring this video. Coming back to the tailgate, I did say it is a power up down tailgate. So just as I lowered it with the button here, I could raise it by pushing the button there. But another cool feature is if your hands are full and you just can't reach that button, you can just use your knee, begin to raise it slightly, and it will finish the job for you. And then there is, of course, the standard grab handle button right here that will lower it down for you. We do also have rear perimeter lighting back here and our backup camera back in the back, so we do have good visibility all the way around. Before we climb in the Tacoma, I do want to talk about the key. It is Toyota's typical key. We don't even get Tacoma branded on the back, but you do have lock, unlock, your tailgate release, a panic button. You can deploy a physical key if you need, and this does have a remote start, but in typical Toyota fashion, you have to lock it, press once, twice, and hold on the third, and wait, and wait, and wait, and wait. The lights will flash at you, and because this is a hybrid, not a whole lot happens, but yes, that is how you get the remote start to work. A lot of the competition does have a dedicated remote start button, and I just wish Toyota would do that on all their products. But it is a proximity key that you can keep in your pocket, your purse, wherever you do keep your keys, and just walk up to the vehicle. It is a passive entry system, so you can lock it by pressing that little line right there and unlock it just by grabbing the door handle. When you do, it allows you to get into the vehicle very easily. I will say that proximity passive entry system is only on the front doors. These back door handles do not have it. As we look inside, we do have a Trailhunter specific mineral color Softex interior with a lot of stone look plastics around the vehicle. I really like it. This very much mimics the Forerunner Trailhunter trim, or perhaps that mimics this because, well, we did get this one first. Here you can see we do get multi-tiered storage in the doors. We get a rubberized grab handle. We get a padded armrest right here, padded section right here. It is very nice. And like the Tundra, we do get a padded upper armrest as well. Coming to the seats, we have multi-way adjustable with 4-way lumbar. And then our Softex lined seats are contrasted with all this piping and stitching. They look really cool. They are very comfortable. They are heated and ventilated, which I really like. And you can see, yes, both seats are trimmed the same way. And taking a look at our Trailhunter floor mats, yes, we do have all-weather floor mats here that are Trailhunter branded. We do have that steel rocker protection here that is frame mounted that does not really serve as much of a step. We don't have a handle here on the A-pillar for the driver, but you can see there is one over here on the passenger side of the vehicle. I'm sure Holly will talk about that more in our family review. Me at 5'10", I can get in fairly nicely without dragging my pant leg on that dirty rocker protection. And once we get inside, you can see we have a fully digital gauge cluster to go with our very large screen over here. And I will go ahead and put my foot on the brake and push the engine start button. You can see we do actually get an engine start up here, even though this is a hybrid. There are certain instances where, yes, you would start it up and it would be in its electric mode. But yes, here we do get an actual engine startup, which perhaps could be because I've left it idling for long enough. I will also call out no head-up display in this one, but we do get the full digital gauge cluster down here. This is much like Toyota's digital gauge clusters across their entire lineup. There are 3 different sections that you can control what is displayed in each of them with your buttons here on the steering wheel. There's a lot of customization here. By this point, I will assume that you have already seen our content on how to change that. But yes, all that can be controlled here. We have our volume controls here, our track forward and back here. So all of these lower controls are our audio. This is for the gauge cluster, your phone, and then your driver assistance, whether it be your fully adaptive cruise control, your lane keep, things such as that. Now, I will say that the engine has already cut off, helping to save fuel, but you can see from our 16.3 average fuel economy here and just over 400 miles, we're not getting the best fuel economy overall. In fact, we'll go over here to our trip information. You can see we've had spikes of really good fuel economy, but yeah, we're not really getting that great of fuel economy, even though we traded 2 cylinders for a turbocharger and hybrid system. Not quite sure what Toyota is going for, overcomplicating the powertrain, but this is what we get. The other option in Tacoma's lineup is just the Turbo 4 sans hybrid backup, I will say, and you really lose a lot of torque in that instance. As we take a look at the entire dash, you can see we get dual zone climate control up here, heated and ventilated front seats, and I really do like the big knobs here, the tactile feel of the textured buttons here. All of it works very well. We also get a heated steering wheel that is manually adjustable, tilt and telescope, all of which I like a lot. I do want to go ahead and come down to these controls because we do have a lot of buttons over my left knee in typical Toyota fashion. You can see here we have adjustable height headlights here, so you can actually adjust where those are pointed simply with the roll of this dial. There isn't too much adjustment to them, but it is capable of adjustment with the roll of a dial here. You can adjust the brightness of your gauge cluster here, poverty blank here, fuel door release, your auto brights, your traction control, the power to that bed plug back there, a power deploying tailgate button right here, 4 auxiliary switches so you can wire up a winch, more auxiliary lights, whatever you want with these pre-wired switches here. Very nice there. Our lighting control for our bed lighting right here, our light bar, again, that can only be turned on when your brights are on, and then your dual stage fog lights, so you can change what color they are. You do get a readout of what color that is with that button right there. Other controls that we get in here, we have an electronic brake hold here, we have an electronic parking brake right there, trailering mode, our camera button, a locking rear differential, electronic stabilizer bar disconnect, and another poverty blank right here. We get a lot of storage up here, storage in our glove box. That is a very interesting unit. It is a stationary glove box with this kind of movable cover on the front of it. We do get our rear view camera mirror. That does a good job of making up for the fact that we have, well, headrests and a small truck back window here, giving you a nice full view there. We get some sunglass storage up here, no sunroof in our model, and then coming down to our 8-speed automatic transmission. When you put it in reverse, you can see we've got good cameras, a good layout on our screen here. Really good use of this 14-inch screen, so you get your bird's eye, your backup camera with trajectory. You can also when you are in drive, have a forward-facing camera, and you can hit that button if necessary. Toyota does the most with their cameras and really does allow you to see a lot of different views depending on what you want to see, whether it's your front wheels, your back wheels, anything like that can be seen from this. You can trigger whether or not you want that on or off, and you can even deploy an automatic mode so that if you are at slow parking lot speeds, the cameras do come on for you. Then we do have our off-road mode. These will come on as standard when you are in for low, but you can trigger them if you like. I really like, again, the layout of this screen. The only thing I wish is if we had a better readout here on our pitch and roll so that you can see what your actual pitch and roll is. Chevy and GMC, I think, do it the best with their gauge cluster display of pitch and roll that actually show you what your max has been since your last reset. So there are those off-road cameras, but I really do like how you get multiple views on one screen. It works very nicely. I will say though, if you are not in drive and you hit the camera button, you get this basically pointless pan that all you can do is pause. You can't like speed it up, slow it down, or anything like that. So if you are in gear, well, the camera views are much better. Moving down, we do have our Qi wireless charger here, two 45-watt USB-C charge ports, a little bit of storage here, and then our drive mode controller. This really does a lot of different things. So it does control our different drive modes. We have three. We have Sport, Normal, and Eco. If you leave it in Eco, it will stay in Eco every time you start the vehicle up and turn it back off. We have tow haul mode right here, multi-terrain select, which you have to be in for high or for low for. So we are going to go ahead and put it in for high. It does very quickly change to for high for us. And now we can hit multi-terrain select. And now you can see we get deep snow, mud, sand, dirt, and auto. So more drive modes essentially here in multi-terrain select. We also get downhill assist control, crawl control, which works very nicely when you are off-road. You can see it is working to turn on, but it does allow you to adjust your speed uphill or downhill or even on level ground with the turn of this dial. All of that is highlighted in our off-road video, but I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Put us back in two-wheel drive. It will take just a few seconds for that to happen, but yes, already back into two-wheel drive, which I like a lot. Back here, we get two cup holders of varying heights, so this one is a little bit higher than this one right here. Then we get a padded armrest with a decent-sized center console storage, though you can see it is not too deep, but it gets the job done and allows us to store our stuff in it just fine. We do get that multi-tiered storage in the door. We also get two cup holders on the back here. Coming to me, I've got the seat down all the way, but pretty good headroom up here, especially without the sunroof. And Toyota has fixed, I'm not like sitting on the floor here in this Tacoma, even with the seat all the way down, like in previous generations. Previous models did have a more car-like seating position, but here I'm up a little bit more. It's not the most truck-like seating position, but it is way more than the model this Tacoma replaces. As we come up to the back doors, as I mentioned, there is no proximity passive entry here, so vehicle will need to be unlocked. And these doors and back seat are a little on the small side. That seems to be a general complaint amongst all mid-size pickup trucks, but it seems really bad here in the Tacoma. Again, this is the segment sales leader, and I would say the Ford Ranger and Honda Ridgeline have the two best back seats of the segment. This is perhaps one of the worst, and there are a few reasons for that. First and foremost, you can see my seating position here at 5'10" and just how much room that gives us behind the driver's seat. And then the fact that we don't have any under-seat storage here because we do have a hybrid powertrain. This is where Toyota hides the battery. So there is zero under-seat storage, but we do have some auxiliary storage behind the seat here. So you have to fold the headrest down, and then you have to actually fold the rear seat down. Now, unfortunately for us, because Tucker is in his child safety seat, the best way to get into the behind the seat storage is from the passenger side, not here from the driver's side, because that's where our JBL sound system is. But we can get a little bit closer to it from here. And you can see the seat does fold down nicely, but the seat belt is now in the way. So I guess you're gonna have to do one of these if you wanna use the fold down seat back. Now, the fold down seat back is something General Motors used to have until they updated to their newer generation of Colorado and Canyon pickup trucks. They no longer offer this as an option. You sound off whether or not you like it or not. Now we'll go ahead and show you, yes, our top tether anchor points are on the back of the seat belt, or back of the seat, which is not my favorite here in the segment. If you want to see what it's like putting that child safety seat in, well, you're just going to have to hit subscribe and go watch our family review when that drops. But with that seat in place, we can talk about there is no fold down armrest, but we do have an adjustable center headrest here. We do have a power sliding rear window, and we do have a B-pillar mounted grab handle to get into the back seat. Our Trailhunter does come with 2 floor mats back here in the back. No single piece unit going over that center hump because, well, there isn't much of a center hump there to begin with, just because of how close the seat is to the front seats. We do get a little storage in the door up here, a little more storage down there, but we'll grab the B-pillar handle and climb in. Now, again, I'm 5'10", sitting behind myself. My knees are not touching, but just barely. So I can sit back here. It isn't the complaint that everybody makes it out to be, but it is definitely a tight back seat. It does give me a very close access to my cup holders here and my additional power. We even get a household style 3-prong outlet right there, all of which is very nice. No storage on the back of the driver's seat, but we do have storage on the back of the passenger seat. Not a lot to talk about back here. We don't have heated seats. We don't have any real luxuries to speak of. I mentioned no fold-down armrest either. And you can see my headroom, well, it's here. But yeah, if we were bouncing around on the trails, this might be a tough back seat to ride in. I don't know. You sound off in the comments. Has Toyota gone too far in removing backseat space for everything else they're doing in the pickup trucks? Is this backseat a deal breaker for you?
Hello.
Now that we're inside and you can see my driving setup, I have a little passenger stowaway with me. Tucker decided to join me on this one. But before we do set off, I wanted to give you kind of a point of view of what this looks like. Also show you, since I'm no longer recording on my phone, what CarPlay looks like on this massive screen. So it is very easy to navigate. You have this massive screen, but you can hit that button right there and get all of your Toyota shortcuts, which negates having the dedicated Toyota button. But I really like having the full screen for use for all of my different widgets and everything offered to me on iOS 26, which I really like. But before we set off in this one, I do want to turn us to sport mode and turn on our RaceBox GPS-based race timer that will help us see just how quick this Toyota Tacoma is 0 to 60. So we are in sport mode, we're in 2-wheel drive. We're going to see exactly what this thing is capable of. Then we'll get some feedback from Tucker, what it's been like riding in this one. But we don't want to spoil too much.
No.
Because we also have a family review coming up where he will give us even more insight to his thoughts back there in the seat. Now, I am slightly curious, 2-wheel drive versus 4-wheel drive, which is the fastest? And I guess we get to figure that out right here today. So we will come to a complete stop. I'm going to stand on the brake with my left foot, stand on the accelerator with my right foot, and drop the brake. We get a little wheel chirp. Traction control stepped in, and that absolutely destroyed our 0 to 60 time, I do believe. 8.3 seconds, 0 to 60. We're going to do that again without traction control, and then we'll try it one more time in 4-wheel drive to get a full picture of exactly what this truck is capable of going 0 to 60. Before we get to the starting line, I will show you our traction control button is right there. We get that display that says traction control is turned off. We will see how accurate that is. So we pull back out to our starting line. Still in sport mode, still going to do the same thing. Stand on the brake with my left, the accelerator with my right, let it rev up and drop the brake.
Whoa,
Lots of wheel spin
whoa.
there.
Hey.
Lots of wheel spin. and an even slower 0 to 30. And I'm assuming, oh no, 8.5 second 0 to 60. So we cut nearly half a second off, but still lost a lot of time due to excessive wheel spin. So we are going to give this one more test in four-wheel drive, see what that is capable of. All right, so I do want to ensure that traction control is off. We're going to slip it into four-wheel drive high for high via our electric transfer case. And then we are going to head back out to our starting line and see what this thing is capable of now with four-wheel drive traction and no traction control turned on. So same process, stand on the brake with the left, stand on the accelerator with the right, and off we go. Full traction at all four corners. This thing is absolutely pulling. This is the best 0 to 30 we've gotten so far, 8.13 seconds, 0 to 60. So, interesting. Kind of ran out of steam there. I'm sure we could get slightly better numbers if we tweak this and ran it several more times. We are going to do a couple more 0 to 60 runs at the end of this video, but more so how you would typically drive this in normal mode without brake torquing it, without doing any of that. So very interesting. 8.03 was our fastest, and 8.13, even though we had a faster 0 to 30 on this last run, is our latest 0 to 60. Very curious. Tucker, what did it feel like from the back seat back there?
It was pretty nice.
Pretty nice. Did it feel super fast?
No.
No, but it made quite a bit of noise.
Yeah.
Come to a stop here. I can say we'll go ahead and roll the window down just a little bit. The passenger window, especially because we have that raised air intake and a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with a nice blow-off valve sound. So we get a lot of on-throttle noise, window up or down, and that does make this a little bit hard to disguise when you're on throttle if you don't want everyone in the vehicle to know, which takes me back to the fact that yes, we did road trip this to Dallas and back as a family, and Holly was riding in the passenger seat. She knew every time I was on the throttle, no matter what. She could have her eyes closed, possibly even been asleep over there in the passenger seat, and she knew when I was on the throttle because she could hear it, especially there from the passenger seat. Just when the engine was breathing in up there. And yeah, that is perhaps not the best daily livable feature of this Trailhunter model, but that is exclusive to this Trailhunter model. So if you don't like that, perhaps go with the TRD Pro, the Limited, the TRD Off-Road. There are multiple other trims in the Tacoma lineup to which you could get this same powertrain and quite a bit of off-road capability without that raised air intake making all the noise for you here in the cabin. But what has this been like driving it around? Tucker, what are your thoughts from the back seat back there?
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, pretty nice. I would say from the front seat up here, I've got fairly good visibility from all three of my mirrors, especially with this camera system helping me see even better out the back. I've got good overall visibility from my big windows, though the back doors being slightly smaller for the segment means his child safety seat is a little bit closer, giving me a fairly large blind spot back there. But I do have blind spot monitors on both of my mirrors, giving me a visual warning when someone is in my blind spot. So that works fairly nicely for me. And then overall power in this, you saw the 0 to 60 numbers, what this thing is capable of. It is fairly quick. I wouldn't say it is the quickest. It definitely isn't the slowest vehicle I've tested, but I wouldn't say it is the most exhilarating, especially given its 465 claimed pound-feet of torque. I feel like maybe that is under extreme situations that you get all of that torque. I know we did have a lot of wheel spin in our two-wheel drive brake torque launch. So I don't know. I just feel like You can get better power from a turbocharged 4 without the hybrid in the General Motors offerings. You get a turbocharged V6 from Ford. You get a naturally aspirated V6 from Jeep and from Honda. So there are other engine offerings, and our 16.2 miles per gallon that we have seen in our testing of this one does leave a lot to be desired. Going back to the turbocharged only 4-cylinder from the GM twins, those in their top ZR2 and AT4X trims come with 35-inch tall tires and give you 16 city, 16 highways, 16 combined EPA rated fuel economy numbers across the board, which is quite in line with what we get here. But you do have to trade off the option of a 6-foot bed because, again, those vehicles do not offer the long bed in their midsize pickup truck, but offer a very similar price point. So would you rather have this Tacoma Trailhunter for its Toyota name and heritage and its long bed for the same price as a 35-inch tall tire equipped off-road beast from General Motors? Sound off in the comments below. I will say, driving this Tacoma around at low speeds, the engine will turn off. You can drive it in EV mode at low speeds, but because it is a big heavy truck with 33-inch tall tires, any little dip into the throttle whatsoever and that engine is quick to turn back on, even in eco mode. There have been very few instances where I can truly give it some throttle or some throttle input and not trigger that 4-cylinder engine to turn on. So I will say, trying to get the best fuel economy out of this Trailhunter trim has been hard. I have really been trying to milk that number, and 16.3 is the highest I've gotten it over our term of testing it. But see, here we are coasting. The engine's just now turned off, and I am not in sport mode. So yeah, we're coasting downhill a little bit, but as I give it a little bit of throttle, yep, the engine comes back on. It really is hard to get the most out of the fuel economy from this powertrain. So I really do believe the iForce Max aspect of this powertrain really is aimed more at that torque number that we saw earlier. And again, this doesn't have the most stellar acceleration numbers. I don't know. You aren't buying a truck for acceleration. It can tow. We do have trailer brakes hidden behind the steering wheel here. Again, another inconvenient placement in the segment for trailer brake controls. I cannot even see them. Look way around to see them, but they are back here. This thing can tow, but I don't know. This particular trim really is built for overlanding. You're going to be loading the bed down with stuff, perhaps a roof-mounted tent on this one. I don't know. The overall ride, and you know you're in a truck, you know you're in a long bed truck. Here in this one, it is a long pickup truck. But the Tacoma was one of the first in the segment to ditch rear leaf springs. And of course, we have the old man emu shocks on this particular truck. Everything that makes this good off-road means on broken pavement and on-road situations, it rides fairly smoothly. I am very curious how our family review of this truck will do when Holly's behind the wheel and we get it on the historic brick streets of downtown Tyler, Texas. But yeah, you can tell you are in a pickup truck. It rides like a body-on-frame truck. I've got no complaints for what it is. It rides quite smoothly. And yes, Tucker and I even take this one off-road and explore what this one is capable of off-road. Tucker, you want to give people a sneak peek into what your thoughts were of this one when we went off-roading in it?
I loved it.
The boy loves to go off-roading, and we actually took the opportunity to take this one out on my 39th birthday. So we had quite a bit of fun out there at Barnwell Mountain. Be sure and check that video out as
Yes,
well.
it was terrific. We even did donuts.
Yes, we did. Some birthday donuts, right, T-Man?
Yep, birthday donuts.
Other thoughts from living with this one for a full week, road tripping it and such. It is really good on the highway. It is a good highway cruiser, but again, the fuel economy numbers are what they are. We do have fully adaptive radar, adaptive cruise control on this pickup truck. So there are some luxuries on this one, though we are missing memory seats. We have tested a 4Runner Trailhunter that had 2-person memory seats. We don't get that here in the Tacoma Trailhunter, which is a little bit of a misstep. And then you can see Tucker's a little light on rear legroom. Behind the seat right now, most of that is due to the fact that his child seat is in place, which brings him up away from the back seat a little bit further. But now we're coming to the end of the twisty bit. We're going to see exactly what this is like 0 to 60 without brake torquing it. We'll do it from a stop. We're in normal mode. Are you ready, set, and go? It took the engine and transmission and everything a second to realize exactly what we were doing. But then we did set off, 7.94 seconds. So that is our quickest 0 to 60 run of today, not brake torquing it. We weren't even in sport mode, which means, yeah, I'm gonna put it in sport mode for this last run and do the exact same thing. I think most of that is due to the fact that this is a GPS unit, so it did not realize exactly when I moved from the brake to the accelerator, and it also has a 1-foot rollout engaged. So just very curious that that was our best 0 to 60 time, but we are going to do it one more time headed in the other direction. Ready, set, and off we go. Keep in mind, we are also in 2-wheel drive, so all the power is going to those rear wheels. 8.13 that time. So interesting. Normal mode, non-brake torque, and 2-wheel drive is the quickest 0 to 60 run that we have gotten here in our test of the iForce Max equipped Tacoma Trailhunter. Now, I asked in the intro, is this worth all the hype, the accolades, the awards it's earned? Is it worth all the sales recognition that it has garnered? Time will tell how this powertrain holds up long term. It is quite a bit more complicated than the naturally aspirated V6 it replaces, though I will say from a drivability standpoint, it drives really well. You don't really know when the engine comes on or off. It is a smooth transition in the hybrid system. It's got plenty of power, as you've seen by the numbers here. The 8-speed transmission is much better than the old 6-speed. I'd say even the real or fake engine noises we get from the 4-cylinder aren't all that intrusive. All the way around, it is a very good powertrain setup. I've got no complaints. It is an improvement from a driving feel versus the old V6 and 6-speed auto that we are trading out of. From a drivability standpoint, otherwise, yes, I would say that this is also an improvement, though that back seat cramped space is a problem in the entire segment. It really seems to be a problem here in Toyota's offering. I don't know quite what they're doing with their rear seat legroom in their body-on-frame pickup trucks. It just seems like that is an afterthought across the board and is a slight shame for daily usability of this pickup truck for family use. Again, check our future videos out, hit subscribe to see what our family review comes to a conclusion on for family use of this pickup truck. Is it worth the sales success? Well, like I said, the powertrain, time will tell on that, how it holds up long term, but we do have some good warranties on this. You'll want to check out the video description to get the full details on what the warranty covers and what the warranty periods are. Is it worth all of the accolades? Yes, I would say that it is. It has had some steep competition from various different competitors across the lineup, though in the Texas Auto Riders Award testing, General Motors and Ford have chosen to opt out. So let us know down in the comments that we need to really get Ford and General Motors involved back in these tests to see exactly what the full field is like for the midsize truck segment, though the new Nissan Frontier really is a gussied up version of the old Nissan Frontier. It still uses a naturally aspirated V6 and still gives you a long bed option like this Tacoma does. So perhaps all of you V6 purists will flock to Nissan if the Tacoma just ain't for you anymore with its turbo hybrid 4-cylinder powertrain. Otherwise, if you want to know more from us, again, hit the subscribe button down below, ring the bell so you're notified when future videos drop from us. Find us on all social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com to find everything from us there. But as for me, behind the wheel of the 2025 pickup truck of Texas, the Tacoma Trailhunter. Until next time, gearheads. Bye. Thanks, T-Man. What was that?
What was it?
It's running over acorns. It sounded terrible. All right, turn that off. Turn this